Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. I'm so excited for today. Oh my god. Okay, so I know we didn't have like the start with the music, but I want to talk to you guys about a serious subject. And before I do that, I do want to welcome everyone who's here. Hi Reva. Hi Eric. Thank you. Thank you so much, Eric. Hi Young Man Game. And hi Mr. Youngblood. Hi Alicia. And hi Big Bad Bull. Welcome, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. And yeah, thank you for joining us for our Sunday meeting to start the week right. So, the topic I have today for you guys is something that everyone is going through stress. And as we finish with the summer and we get into the fourth quarter of the year, everything gets more tense and stressful because, the next year is starting and everyone gets like this. So, I was just thinking about how stressed I am and how stressed I notice the other people are around me. And I wanted to bring up a point about how success can bring stress. There's a lot of stress that comes with being successful. You can be successful in hi Lou, hi Katia, hi Craig, hi Jordan, hi Rob, hi Antonio, hi OP. Hi, Miss Parker. Welcome. Oh my goodness, not with my clothes falling off. Hi, Heru. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. I get so distracted. Right. So success can bring a lot of stress. So this is what I wanted to talk to you all about. And I've heard a lot of people say it's easier to fail. Sometimes it's just easier to fail because then you don't have the stress of success. You don't have the expectation put on you. You don't have people looking to you with demands and so on and so forth. So I want to talk to you all about this because this applies to every corner of our lives, right? So stress and what can we do to deal with the stress of the stress of success rather than stressing ourselves to death. So I have a few tips on what we can do, and no, it does not involve yoga or deep breathing or what have you, because anyone can do that. This is a lot deeper. And right, so that's what I want to bring out. Hi, Joshua. Hi, Mrs. Doe. Hi, Trey. So, right, okay, here we go. It's so much easier to fail than succeed. We all know that. It's easier to just say, I can't do it. I don't want to. Oh, I failed. Well, since I failed, I can just sit in the sidelines and watch everyone else who's winning. I don't have to be in the game anymore. I don't have to continue. No one's going to look to me for any results, answers, what have you, because I'm a failure. So as a failure, I live an easy life. Everyone knows the stress of failure, which is basically just feeling like a loser. But what about when you succeed? It's not always so beautiful and flowers and trophies, because when you succeed, you don't just succeed and then stop. When you succeed, you have to keep going. Let's say we succeed in our work life. We're doing really well. We have to maintain that. Whatever level we reached that brought us such success, we have to maintain that level. And we are expected to pass our past levels from before. We are expected to still grow and keep moving. It's one of those things that it's a constant. Every day we get up and it's the same thing over again, and then you have to outdo yourself of yesterday. I have to outdo what I did yesterday in order to be seen continuously as a successful person. This is hard. This is stressful. Let's take it to relationships. In our relationships, a lot of people say, well, when you get married, that means you won. I've heard a lot of people on YouTube, when they talk to married women, they tell them, you've won. Tell the married woman, you've won. Just be happy with your husband, you won. What about the stress of that winning? She won. She got a husband. She has a family. She has a home. What about that? What about that stress of continuous competition, continuing to maintain what you have. You don't think that's stressful? It is stressful. And I want to speak about these stresses as well with you all. I guess I kind of want to give you a little bit of a personal story as well, because I've talked very vaguely about my father. My father is a great man, very wise. He has a wisdom that I can't describe it. I can ask him anything, and he has this deep insight, kind of like Crimson Cure. They kind of have that same, you know what I mean? So my father, he worked very hard. We came to America. We had a little. We didn't have much, but we had a little. And he worked so hard. He broke his back working, and he still continued to work. That's the definition of I break my back working for my family. And my father did that. My father broke his back working for us and sacrifice. And that's what I talk constantly about when I talk to a lot of Americans, and a lot of people say, well, Ameera, she would never understand. She has no experience with this or something. I've seen it done. And if I'm talking to you, it's because I've seen something, and you can accept it or you don't have to. But I've seen my father, and like I said, he broke his back working for us. And I couldn't dare tell my father, Dad, you made it. You've won. He doesn't feel it, because a lot of men, they do this for all their life, and they never turn around to really enjoy the fruits of their labor. When do you tell someone that they've won when all they see is another bill coming, or another hurdle that they have to go over, another day of waking up and working again? They don't see it as winning. They see it as every day. This is it, every day. So I guess I just want to, I know I got a little bit off there. Just give me a moment. So I want to talk about the things that I looked up, because I did a little research on this, and I tried to look up ways that successful people, or people who have reached success in any one form or another, what can they do to maintain their success, maintain their sanity, and value the things that they have while they have them. Because remember, success is not always forever. We could be rich today and tomorrow poor. So one of the ways that I found that we can enjoy our successes if we've made it is, number one, to always expect and prepare for change. Do not get comfortable. Do not think that this is the end, because you don't know what's next. So don't get comfortable. Always be ready for change and expect it. In fact, you should be hoping for change. You should never be comfortable where you are. Even if you have reached that success, don't get comfortable. I've seen that happen a lot too, like where people they say, oh, I've made it, so now I'm going to use my money, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm comfortable, right? But then the next day, maybe the stock market crashes. Maybe your girlfriend break up with you, or your wife break up with you. What happened? What are you going to do? You didn't expect that change. You never saw it coming, and you didn't prepare. So that's my number one thing, is to always expect and prepare for change, because it will happen. Being stable in this world that is going to be forever. Number two, focus on your freedoms and not your limitations. Basically, that means to look beyond what's in front of you. Well, how do you think people like Elon Musk, people who are inventors, people who invented Facebook, Instagram, all of these things that people use every day, do you think that these people had inspiration from somewhere to make this? They didn't, because it had never been made before. So where were they going to find the inspiration to make it? This is why they say, look beyond what's in front of you. Look to what can be, or what could be, or what should be. Not Okay, this is here in front of me. I'm going to use this. And if I want to make this again, I'm going to ask someone how I can make this. Try not to do that. We try to look past what we can see. And that's why they say imagination is key. That's why I always talk about like teach your kids to imagine and be creative, you know, because you have to make something that's not here. How can you, just really quickly, think about the telephone, yeah? First person who thought about making the telephone, this person had to be seen as crazy because this inventor probably sat here and said, you know what? I just want to talk to someone who's not even here. People probably would look at him like, you know, they have medication for that. He would say, I would just want to talk with someone who's not even here. I just want to like put something to my ear and hear someone that's not here. And there was no one that he could talk to and say, how can I make this thing? You have to make it on your own. You have to figure it out. Number 3, rewrite your programming. And now this is the hardest out of the things that I'm going to say. This has to be the hardest that I've encountered. Rewriting your programming. Unlearn the things that you have been taught, the things that you thought were truth, the things that you thought were fact, whatever you thought, try to unlearn it and relearn it again. I want to say, stay curious. That's what it is. Stay curious. This is what my father talks about all the time. Always be curious. When you lose your curiosity, you die. Because there's no reason, if you're going to be alive, if you think you know it all, why are you alive? You might as well die because there's nothing to teach you now. You know it all, right? Why do you need to be here? If you know everything, well, then just go ahead and dig your grave and lay down and get comfortable. So be curious. Don't always accept our facts as facts. And this is something that I'm trying to do with myself all the time. That's why I love speaking on the panel and having other people speak to me, because it gives me a chance to question myself. Question, is this right? Is it wrong? Or are we both right and wrong? Or is it subjective? What is it? This is one of those things. Lastly, number 4. Lastly, I would say is to appreciate what you have while you have it. We should always appreciate what we have while we have it. Even if, like I told you, I can't tell my father that he's won or he's made it because he doesn't see it that way. He just sees it as I'm working and we're here and there's another day coming, and then after that there's going to be another day, and we're going to wake up and do the same thing that we did today, only harder and more. And that's just the way he thinks. So he never really got a chance to appreciate what he has, I think, in my opinion. We would have to talk to him just to be sure. But in my opinion, he never got a chance to appreciate it because he was just so busy thinking about tomorrow, about the next day and next year. Do you guys remember? I don't know who it was. I believe it was either Anton or JR who said that men, they can see further in the future than women. Like they have, I don't know, kind of like not insight, but foresight. There it is. They have like better foresight. Men have better foresight than women because women think of today, men think of tomorrow. So when you think about that, it's like when I'm asking someone to appreciate what you have right now, especially for men, that might be very difficult because men are too busy thinking about next year, 5 years from now, 10, instead of thinking about what you have now. So I want to ask everyone who's here and who's listening to me tonight in this meeting, please appreciate what you have while you have it. Because today, we might be driving Bentleys and Lamborghinis and Maseratis. Tomorrow, we might not have what we have today. So just appreciate it. Appreciate it and be grateful. And another thing about that is treating everyone that you meet fairly. Don't treat people as if they're under you. Because remember, there's a saying, the people that you passed while going up are going to be the same people that you passed while going down, on your way down again. And they're going to remember how you treated them. Whether that was good or bad will be your decision. So that's my little lecture of the day. I want to hear what you all think about it. Tell me, is there anything else I can add to this list? Feel free to call in. I'm also looking at the chat. Let me know if there's anything that I should add to this list, anything that I'm missing. Or do you think that I'm wrong, that success has no stress and that people just stress themselves out? That is not actually a stress of success, but it's a stress of the mind. What do you think? Please call in. I'm waiting. Okay, so hi Jordan, hi Teddy. BTK says, when my sister and I could drag our parents to the summer house, mom would clean and cook for us and the neighbors' kids. Our folks were always so busy. Dad went to the beach wearing his business suit. Your dad was at the beach wearing business suit. Oh my God. Alicia said, yes, my man had to explain to me because my husband was driving me nuts. Guys, I love hearing testimony, your story. And Aaron says, women want a man with a future and men don't want a woman with a past. Ooh, you're going to get in trouble. Don't make people mad. Hi, Anton. Let's see. Jordan says, enjoy life in a natural way, not material way. But material is still good every now and again. Nothing wrong with it, you know? Let me see. What it says, MT, I can't say your name. When MT phone, I don't know. Don't find an option and simply stay there. Always be willing to let your thought come from change. Thank you to all of Chris Rock's speech. I'll figure it out later. Duke says poverty keeps us curious or we die. Poverty keeps you what? I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that because poverty, let me try to say something here. When a lot of people are poor, especially when you think about like North Korea, think about North Korea. Everyone there is poor. So if you're telling me that poverty makes everyone curious, then North Korea should be a country of geniuses, right? Because everyone should be very curious there, but they're not because they're constantly thinking about how they're going to eat. America, thankfully, doesn't have that problem because even the poor here are well fed. We have the most overweight poor people in the world. So I don't know. I think I have to disagree with that one because I think curiosity comes after your belly is full and, you know, other things are taken care of. Your necessities are taken care of. Ray says, a man with no dreams is dead. I agree. I agree there. So let me see. Oh my God, Hero says, I think some of us just need to enjoy life as it is and not try to be Bill Gates. It's a crazy rat race. Takbir. Hello, Akbar. I don't know. I'm not saying that you have to be filthy rich. I'm not saying that you have to that's your only goal, your only success is to be rich. No, I don't agree with that either. But a lot of people, we reach our goals that we set for ourselves, which is called success. We reach the goal that we plan for ourselves. And a lot of people just get comfortable there. They just stay there. And it can be stressful just to stay there because even there, you don't want to let yourself fall. You don't want to fall. So it takes time. Let me see. Hi, Akna. Thank you, TJ. Hi, Larry. Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 minute. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry. Okay, so that's what I was thinking. And honestly, this kind of topic can be hard for a lot of people who don't see life past that success, especially when people see people like Anton. They think oh, well, Anton is just, oh, he's at the top. He doesn't have any stresses like I do. Anton, he's rich, and he doesn't even understand how it is to struggle anymore. He has no idea. Or I've even heard people telling Anton that he's disconnected from the rest of the world because he has money. And things are just easy for him. And it's like, no, because if you ask Anton, well, I'm sure people do ask him, ask Anton, what do you think every day when you wake up? Don't you have all of these things on your mind when you wake up? Are you scared to fail? Are you worried about failing? I know what he'll say because he's very much like, I'm a winner no matter what. I know he will say like, no, I have no issues. I am the king. But if we got into his mind and be truthful, I know he has to worry. Everyone worries. We all do. So Anton isn't any different. Jordan says Anton seems like a very humble guy. You haven't seen him very much then. I'm sorry. Anton is gonna hate me if he hears this. I'm sorry, Anton, but yeah, no, he's not humble. But yeah, he is God-fearing. He is very God-fearing. Trey says, mo money, mo problems. My life is nuts right now with my business. Mo money. More money, more problems. That's true. I have to agree. I gotta agree with that. Eugene says, when you're successful, you set a standard for yourself. Sometimes the pressure is on you to maintain the standard. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, and this can be in any field. This could be in marriage. It can be in business world. Anything you set a goal for, and once you reach it, it can be so difficult to maintain. And think about marriage. 1 minute. I need to take a drink. 1 second, guys. Excuse me, guys. Think about marriage. Even marriage, you get married and you're like, oh, great, I made it. No. That's where the work begins. Because then it's like, okay, your husband has expectations. Every day he needs to wake up. He needs to have clothes clean, ready, pressed, everything. He needs to have his food ready. He needs to have, and what if you have a husband that's very demanding like mine? He likes fresh baked bread. He does not eat bread out of the grocery stores. He doesn't eat meat that has been left out over 4 hours. He's very particular. He won't eat leftovers. He just won't. So what if you have a husband like that who's demanding and you say, well, I've made it. I'm a wife now. Don't I just have to sit here and look pretty? Hi, honey. No, you have to work. You have to maintain that. And not to mention, keeping yourself in shape, keeping yourself thin. Keep just the way that your husband met you, so that it's not going to be like a situation where he married you and then you just let yourself bleh. It's not going to be good. So no. Matthew says Ameera's cup is on some pimping. Hi, what's your funk? Hi, how are you?
I'm doing greetings from Germany. I'm gonna have to change this name. Nobody's ever getting it. It's what the funk is this? It's the name of the channel. So
what the funk is this? Okay, nice to meet you. You're in Germany?
Yes, it's 5 in the morning, almost right now.
What are you doing in Germany? And what are you doing awake?
I'm retired, so I have my sleep patterns. It can be whatever it needs to be, and I've been here for 7 years, so it's pretty legit.
Do you speak German?
No, we won the war. I speak English.
No, seriously. Seriously, you don't speak German?
No, I have 2 children here. I make my money and make my money in English. No, I'm perfectly fine. I've lived in Japan. I tell Germans if they want me to learn their language, they have to get funnier. They're not funny enough for me to learn their language.
I love it. That's great. That's great. So what do you think about the
You just froze right before you asked, what do I think about something? So what was that again?
topic?
Oh yeah, yes. I think there's two different ways I kind of wanted to speak about. You spoke about how a lot of men, especially fathers, are in their role and they don't feel rewarded. I'm a retired bartender, and that's a lot of the things that I hear men complain about is they do the work that they are told is the right thing to do, and after time, they don't feel like their wives or even their children see them. They honestly just feel like they're keeping up with the Joneses. They don't have a real voice in their household. I believe this is definitely an American thing. It was definitely, I didn't hear this when I was bartending in Brazil and other places, but in America, the men who do the right things, who are going to work with their heads down, ignoring all the BS, staying faithful, completely trying to do this the way that makes sense. They don't get much acknowledgement in their household. They feel they're not rewarded, and that's why a lot of them they have to go to other outlets that could possibly ruin their households, just so they can feel like they have some identity of who they used to be. Um, Men lose themselves trying to do the right things, and a lot of this is because the wives just get used to them. There's nothing worse than being in a relationship with somebody who's used to you. And I think women forget that when the man is doing the right things, you staying in shape, you keeping your house like a nest. Like a man wants to come home from doing all this work in the world where it's hell, and he wants to come home and see what his wife has built for him, and he's like, okay, this is why I do this. But then he come home and all he sees is his kids in love with television and in love with pop culture, and his wife is talking about complete nonsense about things that really don't concern him as the husband. And many men feel that they have lost their identity because they've done the right thing. And then some younger girl who comes around who sees him for what he really is doing makes him feel like a man again. And sometimes that man will jeopardize all that he's built just to feel like a man that he used to be.
My God, that is that, and the thing is that it's so understandable, and the story is so familiar with, anyone can understand that. Anyone can understand feeling unvalued. And then even if you don't want it or you don't plan it, someone actually made you feel valued again. That's sad.
That's really why a lot of men cheat. It's because somebody comes around and reminds him that he's an individual, and what they see, like, oh my God, like I see you, you're amazing. If I want to listen to you, you're wise. I want your counsel. I want to reward you. You are a man worth, this. And that man will hear that and just be like, wow, this is what I wish my wife was saying. This is what I wish my and that's a mistake on the man as well sometimes. You have to kind of see through that because a lot of times women will want to see a good man jeopardize what he's built, and then once he does that, it's really sometimes it's a horrible test. You have to really keep an eye out on women who are trying to seduce you or give you too many compliments when you're doing the right thing for your family. You got to watch out for those compliments because sometimes they come with knives behind their back.
Why you find yourself in a situation where everything you just described is a sign of a weak man? Every
That's
last
how
one
we
of
were
them.
raised, sir. And that's something that a lot of men are now realizing in themselves.
I
That
mean, that sounds like an excuse. You can't have the whole your whole family on your back talking about that's how I was raised. Ain't no such thing as that's how I was raised. You do what you're supposed to do, and if you want to put some effort or some time, or you want to allow yourself to be seduced, listen. A woman will follow according to how it is that you move. My wife moves and she's infatuated with me. She worships the ground that I walk on a regular basis because I pour into her first. I'm not even in a position to ever be seduced by another woman because I'm always in a position of power. I don't even entertain the possibility of being tempted by another woman, right? And that's the reason why you find yourself in, or men find themselves in a position where women have to then lead, and then they want some woman to follow or submit to them when they sitting there whining about the fact that their kids is playing video games. You set the standard in your household. Like at some point, real men need to stand up and start leading and stop leaning on what their environment was or how they was raised. Right? You decided to be a man. You decided to get married. You decided to have kids. You decided to put your cock inside of a woman. At some point, you got to stop making excuses about what women are doing and start leading and controlling the narrative, and stop letting your emotions get the best of you and leading with that and letting that be the deciding factor as to whether or not you're going to feel a certain type of way. Can a woman make me feel a certain type of way? I'm not even in a space to where I'm interested in what some other woman thinks. She don't have no kind of bearing on how I'm moving in any way, shape, or form. I'm not thinking about what no other woman care about. She don't even have no bearing on me. I ain't even talking with her long enough to even have a conversation about how she feel about me. I don't care about no compliment.
But what if you have a woman at home and you come home and she doesn't even notice you? And I understand what you're saying, Anton, but a lot of people do go through that where they're ignored at home.
Well, then communicate, right? The amount of time and amount of effort that they putting inside of another woman trying to get her to understand them is the amount of time and amount of effort they need to be putting into their own wife and their own relationship. People spend more time entertaining what other people is talking about instead of pouring that exact same amount of energy into what it is that they building together. If they took into consideration that they're going to be with this person for the rest of their life and took that serious, if people really went to the altar and when they took their vows, they took that serious, and they would be a little bit more careful about how it is that they move and when it comes to other people entertaining their thoughts. I don't have those problems. My wife worships me.
Oh, sorry.
Worships me. She will come in this room right now and tell you that I am the ground. Bro, if I read you some of the text messages that she just send me on a daily basis, yo, Anton, I live for you. There is nothing I can't do for you. She makes me tea every single day. She rubs my feet. She makes sure my back is rubbed. I don't have these type of problems because I'm first the leader of what it is. I don't expect anything out of her before I first expect it out of myself. And because I've poured so much in my household, I get all of the fruits and all of the rewards that come along with it. I don't have those problems. And the solution to your problem is to first fix yourself, and then she'll follow you. But if you're not giving her nothing to follow, what do you expect for her to do? Because you do your bare minimum, you're supposed to take care of your kids. You're supposed to pay for your bills in your households. You're supposed to put her in a position of power. We don't get credit for that. I hate it when guys tell me that they take care of their kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids. That's your reasonable service. You don't get credit for that. You brought them into the world, right? Like, come on, man. We got to man up. We got to man up. Man up, bro.
You've seen the Eddie Murphy special from the 80s, Raw, correct?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, remember the part that he's speaking about where he kind of says how like the man, like he'll get talked down from his woman to the point he just says, okay, you know? Do you remember that part?
I don't. You got to rewind.
Okay, where he's like saying that we're black, and then the man just said, okay, where he just kind of pussyfoots out of the conversation and just says, okay, the woman's right. You have a gift. You are articulate. And this is one of the things that I think a lot of people on YouTube who are older and younger admire about you.
Well yourself, though. You are pretty articulate yourself.
Nah, I fake it. I'm a 14-year-old dropped out of high school.
You see what I'm saying? How you doing? You see what you just did there? I tried to give you a compliment and you tried to downplay yourself. You the man. Yeah, bro, I am. I'm sweet too. Like you got to, everything in you have to exude that level of confidence. You the man, bro. Yeah, you can articulate yourself. You awesome. You dope.
Well, thank you. I'm already retired, so I played my chess game well. But the point I was wanting to make is that you can articulate yourself to women in a different way that a lot of men admire and we had to learn from. The same thing. That's the same thing. A lot of reasons why a lot of men like Kevin Samuels, because he can see that a man is being articulate and not matching a woman's energy, but just staying in his square and standing on his purpose and then making the woman kind of see his logic. We, a lot of times, make the mistake in the Black community of trying to match our woman's energy. And we argue and try to put our power in with the same way they would. And that's the chaos. The reason why a lot of men admire you and Mr. Kevin Samuels is think of the show a few days ago where the men were calling in. The men couldn't even articulate why that Black men shouldn't divest, why Black, and and just seeing we're working out. Men are getting better. We're doing these things, but we're not leveling up on how we speak. And that's where we have to meet the women halfway, because they're complaining that we don't know how to communicate. We're
I
saying
don't
they're
meet no
talking too
woman
much, but we're
halfway.
not
I don't
communicating
meet no
right with
woman
them
halfway, bro.
and saying exactly what it is that we want in our households. That's
I
the
don't have to
problem.
say what I want though. I don't. You think I tell
Because you're
Rita?
articulate, sir, and you know how to
I
do
don't
that. A
say
lot of us
nothing.
don't.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not meeting her energy. I'm not saying nothing. I expect based off of how I move. I do more talking with my body language and my actions than I ever could say in my words. I'm not sitting here talking and trying to meet her energy. I am the energy. Like I'm the man. I run this. I'm the king. I'm a benevolent dictator. I say that.
But we
There's no
we
woman
have
that can
not had
in my
many
presence.
examples
Oh,
of
hold on,
kings,
hold on,
Anton,
bro.
and now we're just now learning.
But hold on. There is no woman that cannot come in my presence and they not admire me. No woman. Not one. Not one.
I understand that. But we have now just been seeing
You gotta
examples
move
of
the
what
same way.
kings look like. All the kings
You
that
gotta
we've
move.
looked at and grown up watching were not real kings. Maybe you've had a father in your household. Maybe you've seen men act this way that you now have articulated, now that you pattern yourself. A lot of men are just now seeing exactly what this looks like, only
Okay,
through
so now
YouTube and the
what?
pandemic.
What's the solution? Because like for me, honestly,
The solution is to learn from what we're seeing, put it into practice, and build our households and the ideas that we want to make it. That's why a lot of men watch you. That's why a lot of men watch
I
listen
get
to
it, bro.
Neely Fuller Jr. That's why a lot of men watch Kevin Samuels. We are just now being not taught this, but now seeing this and seeing instances where it works. Most marriages that we see, the men have to take a foot back and let the woman lead, and we actually thought that that was actually the way it was supposed to be. Now we're seeing that that's not working. Now we see that women don't really want that. Now we're seeing that that's actually not the way that a man runs his household. So now we're trying to learn different ways to do this. I appreciate all the things that you do and saying you being so transparent, because on this side of the world, people actually watch your videos and people acknowledge
Yeah,
you.
I
There's a
mean,
lot
I
of black
know I
people
got
here
a
in
lot of
Berlin.
movement.
Yeah, there's lots of black men that
Listen, I
see how
appreciate
you
it, bro.
move and they see that. It actually lines up with the way a lot of Turkish men that run their households in a good way, but we don't see that a lot in the black community. Now we are seeing that since the pandemic, and we're trying to now transfer and unlearn, like the end of higher learning that says you have to unlearn. We have to unlearn a lot of what we've been taught from our mothers, from our communities, from our churches, from the people who we thought were men. We
What
have
the
to really
funk?
try to
I'm
rip
sorry.
the
I
whole
don't.
thing
I
backwards.
hate saying your name like that. But are you married? I just wanted to ask you, what's your relationship
No, never
status?
been married. Never been married.
But you have kids.
But I would. Yeah, I have two children here, 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Thank you
can
so much for coming on.
let me ask him one more
No
question, man.
problem.
What
Sure.
made you have kids out of wedlock?
I was 30 years old. I was a traveling bartender in America. I traveled the world just doing my thing. And I knew I didn't want to have children in an American system. I was very nervous about that. And a woman met me when I was bartending. She flew me out to Germany. And I knew that with the system here, that if I had a breakup, it would be a pretty decent 50-50 custody breakup, no problem. So
You
I
said
had
she
my
flew
children with
you
her.
out
Yeah, she flew me out, actually.
and you had 2 children with her?
Yes. And now I'm here, retired, have my kids 50-50 custody. I'm not with her, but I have my kids in my house. And it's not the idealized way I would have written it, but it's worked out for better than me than a lot of my brothers and friends who have had marriage in America, where they had to actually fight this whole family court system. I didn't have to even pay for me to win my 50-50 custody. It's a very different system with socialism.
Bro, we got to do better, bro. I respect you. I
I
show
wish
you. I got a lot of love for you. I think that you articulate your points well, but at some point, like we just got to even stop comparing ourselves to the lowest common denominator. Like I look for the greatest people and I shoot for them and I try to emulate that. And that's what the thing that I work for. Honestly, bro. Like I don't know, if you have a daughter or son or whatever,
I have
but at
both.
some point, I'm sorry, you got both?
Yes, my daughter's 5, my son's 2.
So let me ask you this one question: are you the man that you would want your daughter to marry?
Actually, yes, I am.
You are the man you would want your daughter to fly a man out and have children with him and not be married.
I would have married my ex, but I didn't.
You missed the
I could
question.
not control her temper.
Are
That was the same reason
would
why I
you
broke up with her.
would you want
I
your daughter to do the same thing that the woman that you have children with? Would you want that to be your daughter? Would you want
again,
that
I say
same
yes.
scenario, her having children unmarried and flying a man out?
Again, I can't. I was flown out. I would have married my ex had she been able to control her temper. Um, I came here with money. I've had money my whole life. I've actually had an RV at 23 because I was a very strange Native American Capricorn bartender. I've always been stacking my money. That's why I can be retired now. So I was able to come here and I was going to put my resources into a marriage here. But because I couldn't trust her to be calm when we have arguments, I told her constantly, as a black man and you being a white woman, if you hit me when we're arguing, then if I ever hit you back, I will be deported. I will lose my family. You have to control your temper. And she would not listen to that. I had my roles reversed. So I said, you know what? If I almost hit her back and I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to let my daughter come out and see me standing over you as I hit you. I refuse to let my daughter witness that. So I'm going to leave this house in this situation and I'm starting brand new. And that's what I had to do. And I did that.
So,
And then when I
so
got my custody
basically,
and
that's
showed
yes.
go ahead.
You wouldn't mind your daughter. You wouldn't mind your daughter flying a man out and having a kid out of wedlock with him. Is that what you're saying?
Again,
I
no,
mean, it's a yes. No,
wouldn't.
I understand the context. I
Okay.
understand exactly what you said, but now I'm just looking for a direct answer. Is what I'm asking.
Okay. The direct answer is, would I mind if my daughter found a man from another country and believed in what he was and flew him to her country to start her family? I would be okay with that.
And have a kid out of wedlock.
Yes.
Cool.
I
All
didn't
right,
want to
that's all.
get
That's all I was asking. That's all I was asking. I just wanted
okay.
some clarity.
Yes.
All right,
I
cool.
understand your point completely. If it was a normal situation, I would definitely say that it's smarter for her to have been married. But at the same time, if my daughter was the age where my ex had her, which was 30s, and kind of like not sure if she was going to have children either, then I would have told my daughter that actually might be a good plan.
You would tell your daughter that would be a good plan?
I said that might be a good plan. If that man's coming to this country with his own money, resources, and he's shown pretty much from his entire 20s that he's able to stack his money, he's not frivolous, and he actually has a plan. And I did have a plan to come here to marry my ex. But I also didn't want to come here and just marry her right away, like a lot of people do. I wanted to earn the marriage. I didn't want to just come here when she flew me here. She wanted to get married right away. I said, no, I want to actually put my money and get my money that I've made here in Germany towards me marrying you, not just a bunch of money that I already had. I kind of want to be here so your father can see that I can be here in this country and work and make money in this country without knowing the language, which I did. So I wanted to spend at least 2 years here with my philosophies and showing that I can make it my way here. And I did. And I sold my bar before the pandemic. But I wanted to earn her father's appreciation before I just came here and said, we're married now. That didn't work because I couldn't deal with her temper. But I did have the plan to marry her right away.
I think you got your answer, Anton.
I did.
Thank you so much, What the Funk, for coming.
You guys stay awesome. Keep it moving. And Anton, keep up your content. Again,
Thank you.
Ameera, thank you for putting the plug in Anton's ear about keeping an eye on Australia. Keep an eye on Switzerland, Netherlands. It's getting crazy here. And you guys stay amazing.
I'm sure. Thank you so much. Anton.
What do you think about that?
Anton, why do you have to? God. I was trying to let him go nicely, and you just had to.
It's a teachable moment. It's a teachable moment.
Yes, I wasn't expecting that.
You don't think so?
No, it really was. It really was a teachable moment. And it is kind of sad to see that he had such low standards for his own daughter. And this is kind of the things that I'm talking about when I was talking about the success. And I had spoken about you a little bit. I don't know if you heard me talk about you. I mean, everything was nice that I was saying, but it's true.
What do you think about that last situation?
I think that's scary. That's scary. When he started saying that he didn't mind having it for his daughter, I know that he's probably listening. That's scary, sir. I am sorry to say that that's scary, because if my father had wanted that for me, that I would be unwed at 30 and marrying to a guy that I had to bring in from another country who didn't marry me.
You would have to fly him out. You know that, right?
Right. I have to put up the money to get him over. And I probably have to take care of him too, because if he couldn't afford his own plane, he probably couldn't afford his own room and board as well. I'm assuming.
Gosh,
So I'll have to take care of him.
Huh? I would never want that for my daughter. I can't. And that's why I have to be the man that I would want my daughter to marry. I have to be the man that I would want my daughter to marry. I can't have that for my daughter. If I had a son, I would have to be the man that I would want my son to become.
Correct.
I can't live like that. I can't subject myself to that. I want more from my daughter. I want her to be married. I can't do that. It's I don't want to criticize him because he was very respectful and everything like that, but we got to do better. Just men in general, we have to have higher expectations for ourselves first before we ever, what do you mean you retired?
He said basically when you were complimenting him about like his, him being the man and successful, he basically said, well, I'm retired. So I guess that's not.
What does that mean? I have so much, listen, I got so much life to live. There's a purpose. I can't be retired. I got work to do for people. I have people to pour into. Is families that I need to empower. I just did a whole Patreon live stream where I invested somewhere probably north of $20,000 in different content creators that you know what I'm saying, that pitch me their business ideas. It's so much to do. You know what I'm saying? It's so many people to pour into. It's so many young
opportunities.
It's so much that you need to accomplish that's even beyond the money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's really young looking. And then he said that I guess he was a professional bartender, if I'm not mistaken. Professional bartender, now retired.
That's crazy to me. That is insane. So what's up? How you feel? I see you talking about the money and being appreciative, and you were saying that it's a lot to maintain, it's a lot to keep up, and it's work. And I heard you talking about the demands of your husband and things like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was speaking about those things, and I gave a list of 4 things that you can do to maintain yourself. And one was to expect and always prepare for change. Yep. Number 2 is to focus on your freedoms, not your limitations. Number 3 is to rewrite your own programming. And number 4 is to appreciate everything you have while you have it. And I think I need to add a number 5. Number 5 being don't put yourself down and don't talk down on yourself. Because what we just saw was a man who I know he might think differently, but this is what I saw with the funk. I saw this in you. I saw that you weren't accepting of the compliment, and you didn't see it in your own self because you were kind of putting yourself down. So I would add that as my number 5. Don't talk down on yourself.
Well, I think that women also understand that men that move with a little bit more confidence are a lot more attractive. Right? When you move in confidence and you I don't know. I got a lot of work to do. So shout out to everybody over in Australia. Shout out to everybody shout out to everybody overseas that continue to rock with me. I appreciate y'all, but we got work to do.
Really quickly.
It's time to grind.
Quickly. So someone in the comments said that you are a very humble man, and I disagree strongly.
Really?
Do you consider yourself a humble man? Don't lie. Just say no.
I do think I am a humble person. I think that people's understanding of what humility is a little bit different than what my understanding of humility
I
is.
love to hear that.
My understanding of humility is I think humility largely rests in um I think humility is more of an action word than it is a perception from other people, right?
Hmm.
It's similar to how people have a difficult time being able to separate being arrogant and being confident, right? Being arrogant is the problem of the person that perceives you that way, because the only time you can say that somebody is arrogant is if they don't necessarily deliver on the things that they say that they can do, regardless of how much you feel, how you feel about them, right? If I say that I'm better than everybody in the room, and then I'm actually better than everybody in the room because I prove it, right? Floyd Mayweather said that he was the best boxer in the world and nobody can actually beat him. At what point does that actually arrogance and it's not confidence? Because the fact is
It's arrogance because he has to keep telling the world how great he is. When if he is great, we don't need him to tell us that. We can see it on our
well,
own.
but the difference is that he had to sell a fight, right? So
So
we
he's
all
arrogant.
no, the fact that he understood that people were going to pay just as many people were going to pay to see him lose as they did to see him win
True.
was the reason why he sold the fight that way, right? It was a bigger payday.
Mm.
But at no point did he say anything that was anything less than truth when it came to his ability to be able to be the best boxer in the world.
I still think arrogance. I still think that it goes beyond what you're saying. I still believe that you can still be arrogant and still be everything that you say you are, but still arrogant about it.
Well,
You know what I mean?
arrogance. Well, think about it. Arrogance is basically overselling yourself.
Mm. You think so?
Absolutely, 1,000%.
Hmm. I don't. I guess I don't know the proper definition, but when I
Let's look
think
it
of
up.
arrogance, I think of someone who is very not just prideful, but very.
Think about it. Look, exaggerating one's own worth or importance, um, showing an offensive attitude or superiority, proceeding from characterized by arrogance or arrogant reply. Well, let me look up arrogant. That's arrogance.
That's a definition.
That's a definition of arrogance.
Okay.
Exaggerating one's own worth. Yep.
Well, then that would make it okay. Then it wouldn't be arrogant to say that. Then, if that's the right definition, then no.
I
Hmm.
mean, when you know what you know. Listen, if I say I'm a millionaire and then everybody get bothered by the fact that I'm a millionaire, whose problem is it?
Theirs. True. So
Just because
arrogance
they
doesn't.
bothered by it don't make it any less true.
That's true. So arrogance isn't okay. So it's not what I thought it was. So you're right then. If it's exaggerating your own worth and value, then yeah, then you can't be arrogant if you are what you say you are.
But I don't know. I guess it could, it just depends. It's like friends. You know what I'm saying? Like the definition of a friend in the dictionary doesn't necessarily encompass the entirety of what a friend should mean to most people.
Hmm. So what would be an exception of being arrogant in your mind?
Well, let's go back to humility, right? What is humility? How would you perceive humility?
Humility. I would say not being. I guess being a humble person means that you don't over exude riches. You don't try to make everyone see you as this bigger thing than you are. Maybe being humble.
Well, okay, so it said a low view of one's own importance.
Okay.
I don't think I'm better than other people at all. But it's one of the reasons why I pour into people. You can't think you're better than other people, but you give so much of yourself to people. It's
That's
no benefit for me to give my daughter, my wife, my life, live my life like an open book. I get nothing from that. But the whole purpose of it is just to give people an example of how it is that they can do things, or use my life or use my mistakes or my successes as the blueprint so that they don't have to go through some of the things I had to go through in order to get what I have. Like is literally pouring into people.
You're saying that that's the definition of humility, or
Absolutely. 1000%. Because, well, it's not necessarily perceived the definition of humility, but what it is it's showing that, yo, I love people. I truly love and pour into people, and I value other people just as much as I value myself. I give my life to them. You know what I'm saying? And so if that's not the definition of humility, then what is? Listen, people said that Jesus was arrogant.
why? Because he called himself the Son of God.
100%.
But was he not? Right?
That's what I'm saying. It didn't make it any less true.
Yeah.
It didn't make it any less true just because they were bothered by it, just because he said he was the man. And then he would go off and he would show off and he would heal that guy, and the people would follow him and all of this other type of stuff. And just because they didn't like it didn't make it any less true. Right? Just because they bothered by it didn't mean that he still wasn't the Son of God.
Yeah, you can't change it. Even if you're bothered, you can't change it.
He would go into the church and just turn the whole table over and like, what is y'all doing in here? Get the piss out of here. Y'all messing it up. He would go off on people. Him, Paul, some of the greatest people in the Bible. And I know that you follow a completely different religion, right? But some of the greatest people in the Bible was some of the people that people would call arrogant today.
No, we follow a lot of the people from the Bible in the Quran. We follow a lot.
So
Moses,
that's what I'm saying. Like, just because people were bothered by it didn't make it any less true. And after they were still mad, he was still the Son of God. But it didn't mean that he didn't pour into people and he didn't give his life to people.
True.
So, that's how I move. I don't worry about what everybody else thinks. The only thing I worry about is the truth. And then in addition to that is the results. If the results is that I can empower other people to become better versions of themselves, for me, that's all that matters. I don't care about what nobody else thinks.
Well, I see you're in your angel mood because you have it on your white.
That's because I'm around you. You're always so pleasant and awesome. And I'm not really sure there's anything that you said at any point that I really disagree with.
I think we disagreed once, but that's only because of our masculine and feminine difference. But
what do we disagree on?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, we're pretty much.
What do we disagree on?
So there was one topic the lady was talking about why women something I forget what it was, and yeah, it was something. It was a few videos ago, and we went back and forth for a little bit, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, Anton and Ameera are disagreeing. That's strange." And I think it was TJ or Crimson Cure. Oh, it was Crimson Cure, and she said, "I see both of them. She's representing the feminine, and he's representing the masculine of the argument." Crimson Cure said that about us.
I know that you think it's difficult switching the subject to what you was talking about. You were saying that it might be a little bit difficult maintaining or staying rich sometimes, or the difficulty that comes along with success.
Well, I was speaking mostly about men because I watch the men in my family very closely. And this is the reason why I'm a men's advocate, really, more than a woman's advocate, is because I see men struggle. And I saw my father, and now I see my husband do the same thing that my father did. And just get up every day and grind, and it's just relentless every day. And I don't think either of them ever take a moment to enjoy what they have. Like, even with you, like, I know you have toys, and so does my husband. Like, he has his stuff, and I just don't even think he appreciates his Lamborghini. He doesn't appreciate his stuff because he's always just in that work mode where it's like he doesn't see what he has, essentially. And I think maybe you have the same struggle, but I know my father had the same thing. My father didn't recognize what he had because he was so busy thinking about what was next.
Yeah, I struggle with that too. I spend um, an extraordinary amount of time working. I would say probably nothing less than 16 to 18 hours a day, at least. At least. From about 5 to at least 9, 10 o'clock at 5 a.m. to 9 o'clock to 9 or 10 o'clock at night sometimes.
Well, you see why I'm
It's,
so hard on women, because people like the men, I see the men, I see even with you saying that you work that many hours a day.
that's rare. Let's be clear, that's rare. It's a lot of guys that's just chilling and relaxing. Everybody not putting in that work.
No, I know. I'm not saying that every man is working that hard, but no matter what, the majority of men are still doing what they need to do for their families. And that's something that I'm like, of course, yes, I understand you don't get a reward for that. Taking care of your family is not something that should be rewarded. Of course, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Of course. But I just want to appreciate the men. I want us to be able to appreciate them, because I know women work too, but I don't see women working the jobs that men are working. I don't see them working these jobs that they can die at the drop of a dime on. I don't see
Yeah,
it.
that's true. That's true. But I guess the thing about it is that for me, I'm just looking to empower the other people that's around me. The reason why my wife worships me so much is because everything I do is for the people that's around me. Right? I do it for her. I do everything. Like I do it for everybody. Like I do it for you. You know what I'm saying? We want to empower you, and me and JR, we JR grind too. You know, we try to make sure that even with this network and this platform, we do it for the people and we empower them. And I'm always, pushing you,
Yeah, I know. I get the morning
always
text,
putting
get
you,
up, get to
yeah,
work.
I'm always pushing you and getting on you and making sure, hey, yeah, all right, listen, don't focus on that. This is what you need to do. Move this way, whatever, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why you're so awesome is because you're so coachable. You listen and you move that way, but you understand that we always got your best interest at heart. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, we protect you. Can't nobody talk about my Ameera. Nobody. Nobody say nothing. Can't nobody say nothing about my Ameera.
You know how you guys don't know how much I appreciate that. Don't make me emotional, but just I really appreciate that, because I haven't had that online. I've had my channel for 2 years and I've just been alone, all by myself. So coming here is like having a family.
Yeah.
Having you guys around me is just, it's different. It's special.
I don't want to hijack your whole show.
Too late. I had a whole theme going, and that's done.
Well, that's what you get for bringing up people that was talking about how they was getting flew out.
How they were getting flown out to Germany. I hope he's not mad. I swear I'm not laughing at you. I swear. It's just the situation. That's all. It's different.
Nah, it was just funny. I mean, it was a funny moment for me. So I mean, it is what it is. But he cool though. I actually liked him. I can never get. I just can't. I could probably think of 2 times in my entire life that my wife has ever paid for anything.
So, okay, really quickly. So we were having this argument last Thursday about masculinity and how the modern man isn't masculine and so on and so forth. This has nothing to do with you, Mr. What the Funk, okay? Don't worry about it. But do you think, because remember I said that men's pushing strollers and wearing the baby on their chest and so on, and Kay had a huge problem with it. She's like, how can you say that raising your child? And I'm like, you just don't understand, Kay. But anyway, so what do you think about getting flown out? Is that is that modern masculine or?
I'm not ever getting flown out. Can't no chick buy me a plane ticket nowhere. Ever. 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 Ever, never. Listen, let me tell you something. And anybody can tell you. When I'm with people, and it's across the board, I don't care who it is. And anybody that's ever met me in person, real talk, nobody touches the check. I run that. I control everything. I pay for everything. Nobody touches anything when they with me. Real talk. When Rita is with me and her friends is with me, I take care of everything. That's me. You under my covering, you under my protection. I run this. You don't touch a door handle. You don't do anything. You don't get to drive. You don't do nothing. I run everything. They just rock. They don't even listen. Guys be trying to talk to them and stuff. They be like, they just sit there and they just walk behind me. Literally, they would just come behind me and just stand
Yeah.
behind me.
Yeah.
And guys be looking like, dang, how did you get him to do that? And it ain't that I tried to get him to do that. It was just that they know who the man is.
Women
They
know.
know who it is. They don't. I don't have that problem ever,
Mhm.
ever.
Mhm.
Never had that problem. Even my mom, she stays under my wing and my covering. She don't move without first talking to me and saying, Anton, what do you want me to do?
That's how it is in our culture too. A lot of the women, yeah, you're the mom until the boy reaches a certain age. For us, the boy reaches around 13. And at the age of 13, our boys become basically, we have to kind of answer to them almost,
Yeah.
because they are now considered men. And we start treating them as men when they're 13. So they automatically learn their role as the leader. And
And
that's something that you're doing.
it's across the board. Like my brother's wife, everybody, they don't move unless I say go. And that's the end of it. Like it ain't no negotiation. We don't go back and forth. We don't argue. We don't do none of that. It's just they under my wings and that's it.
I don't see that very much in America, and I don't see it in this kind of American Western culture that women would do that because even well, also I don't see very many men doing what you're doing as well. I don't see very many men taking
That's the
control
key
of
though.
every
Yeah.
situation.
I don't think it's cultural.
How can it not be?
I think it's inherently just the nature of men and women. Right? So let me say this. It don't matter where you from. It don't matter if you're black, white, Lebanese, Asian, whatever. Men's men, like manly men that are on their purpose, that are taking care of business, that are not weak, that are protectors, that understand how it is that they're supposed to move and they move in their purpose. Universally, they're treated like that no matter what culture they're from.
Yeah.
Listen, women naturally subject themselves to strong men.
Yeah.
It don't matter what culture you're from. And so a lot of times people point to cultural differences when the reality is just that a lot of guys subject themselves to feminine ways that ultimately don't benefit them. And so it don't matter what culture you're from across the board, masculine is masculine energy and it warrants a certain level of femininity from the people that come into your presence.
Yeah,
Weak,
because the
weak men
masculine
will
boys.
bow to you. Weak men will bow to you as long as you're the man that you're supposed to be. Every single time they will bow to you. Weak men will bow to you, and the women will fall to your feet. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to demand it. You don't have to have no long conversations with women trying to convince them how they need to be a certain type of way. They will naturally fall into a certain space when they are around you, when you're the person that you're supposed to be. You don't have to try to be it. It just has to be inherently you.
But why in America we don't have it then? If it's not cultural, then why are the men here
Because the
not
men aren't strong. The men are weak. They are.
in the
There's
raising
nothing.
weaker
There's
men?
nothing that my wife can do that would ever force me to ever leave my daughter and leave my household. Ever. I don't let a woman dictate how it is that I'm gonna move. I
What if
move,
she
and then the women move around me.
what if she's beating on you and yelling at you and
She
she's
would
moving?
never do that. She
This is
would
what the man
never
said.
ever be in this. My wife would never ever in a million years think to ever. And it ain't because I picked the right one. It's because I'm the person that I'm supposed to be, and she already understood. I can look at her and give her a certain type of look, and she already know. Oh, wait a minute, what am I doing off? I don't
Right.
even have to
But
say
that's what the guy
nothing.
said. The guy in Germany said he couldn't handle the woman. She was too crazy. She couldn't control her temper, Anton. She had a temper.
I'm not arguing with no woman. What is that? That's crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy to me.
We have a guest. Hi, Ola.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What's going on, Anton?
What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
Long time, man. Good to see you again. Good to see you, Ameera.
Nice to see you.
This is an interesting conversation right here. I agree with Anton. You know, one thing I get very tired of is, listen, it's very easy for us to point out all the differences around the world. The part that's the hard work for us is to acknowledge how similar we are across the world, our troubles, our struggles, you know, and I believe it's the same, especially when we start to deal with the masculine and the feminine energy. It is energy. It's not, it's not equivalent to man or woman, right? It's energy. It's just that the social constructs, obviously, uh, into the past few thousands of years, obviously attributes the masculine energy to being the man because of the needs, the survival needs of the society. But I don't think it's I strongly feel like it's the same across board. It's you set the tone, it's how you show up. Because I have the same, I've been married for 14 years and I can't imagine my wife beating over me, and I believe a lot of that is attributed to how I show up.
Yep.
It doesn't mean I that we don't argue or have a little debate here and there, but also how I show up in the arguments too makes a lot of difference, right? A man has to know when to back off a little bit. A man has to know when to lean in and listen a little bit. A man has to not conflict that to being an alpha male or whatever they call it these days.
But it's so weird. I never argue with my wife.
Me either. I avoid it
I don't
literally.
argue with my chick.
Yeah. I did it so much that at some point, it became like I'm being dismissive, right? But then it's the job of a man to know how to balance that too, right?
So I have an
Um,
example for the pair of you. I have an
Okay.
example.
yes.
Your
Hmm.
wife, you don't argue with her, but something is on her mind and she has to get it out and she just keeps on trying to speak to you and trying to talk. You're ignoring her. She feels you're ignoring her, but you're keeping your manly frame. So she says, "Listen to me, speak to me. I'm not talking to myself here or something." And she wants to keep going. What do you do? Do you just leave the room?
No, but
So
see, that never happens because I actually listen to her.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly,
Listen,
exactly.
Amir, you know me. I pull my girl close and I sit her on my lap and I say, "Hey, whisper in my ear. Tell me what you're thinking." And she just fall like butter. She just turn into a
Precisely.
little buttery. She just turns so cool, and she tell me what she think, and I'm like, "Okay, baby girl, I understand. I acknowledge her. I
I
listen
hate when
to
my
her.
husband
Listen,
does that. I
listen.
hate
Let me
it.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. The one thing that I know, listen, just because you're the man doesn't being the man also means that I understand the power that she brings and the insight that she brings to me. My wife is
Hmm.
incredibly smart, incredibly wise. I take her insight, I take her wisdom, I take the
Yeah,
things that she knows. She's brought me into so many different circles that's allowed me to be even more successful. I'd be a fool not to listen to the insight and the wisdom around me, right? So I'm always listening to her. I'm always paying attention to her. If she got something to tell me, most of the time it's something that actually helps me. So I'm not going
absolutely.
to ignore her and act like she don't bring value, right? I listen to her all the time.
Yep, absolutely. Like the tone that you just used, I don't attract that tone. Listen to
Mm,
me. Like I don't. We don't get there because
I'm
I'm already
already there.
listening.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. She already feel. Now we didn't get here obviously overnight, right? It took some lessons, things falling apart. But once you start to engage like when you see chaos, right? When you see chaos, when you're confused, it just means it's time to learn something new. And unfortunately, men of nowadays, this modern man, they don't have enough patience to even say, hey, something is wrong here. I'm going to hold myself accountable as opposed to holding other people accountable. Let me first hold myself accountable to how I attracted the situation, right? And if my woman comes to me and said, listen to me, like there's a way I moved before that, prior to that, that attracted that situation. And I understand it's easier said than done, but it's the best way to live.
I don't have that problem, honestly. Like, I think that what she says isn't. Listen, it's incredibly attractive to hear what she need to say. She dope. She awesome. Like, I want to hear her. Like, I like kicking it. Listen, I actually like my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
I
a big
like
part of it,
being
right?
around her. When she talking to me, I be rubbing on her and all of that, and she just, it's cool. It's super duper dope. I love it. And let's be clear, she is the most important person in my life. She is the person closest to me. She is the one that got my back. She the person that ensure when I'm sick that she first is trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's placed me first in every single aspect of my life. Why wouldn't I find what she says valuable, but then at the same time, I'm expecting for her to find what I say more valuable? That makes no sense.
See, a lot of people get the wrong idea when you speak like this, Anton, because they think, okay, you're the man, so that means she is just bowing down to you. What are you reciprocating? Where's the reciprocation? So that's where a lot of people get confused. I've noticed in the comments too. People say, well, I just have to be the man and she's gonna do what she has to do, but what else?
I love my chick. I think she the dopest person in the world. Absolutely dope.
Yeah, I slow down with the reciprocation language, right? I slow down with that because, especially when we're talking about marriage, it's a dance, and there's always some level of leadership, even though it takes two to tango, right? There's always a level of leadership in the dance. And if you watch even any one of those tango dance, anything like that, you can see that somebody is leading. You can see that somebody is resting and relaxing on the other person as well. But in the society that we still live in, I either would like to admit it or not, uh, we set the tone as men. We set the tone, and then she makes the home with whatever tone you set. And I know what time it is. We should hold people accountable. But now we're talking about the relationship between the masculine and the feminine energy. There are roles, and that's the fact of life, and we can't argue with that. And the
Are
more
you in
you
the
argue
US?
with that,
Oh,
was that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you in the
That's all
US
right. Yes, I am in New Jersey. Yes, at the
or New
moment.
Jersey?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was raised in Nigeria, by my Nigerian parents. So it's the same. It's the same dynamics, even in polygamy. It's how is the tone that the man sets. Like, you don't get to change polygamy to monogamy, and then suddenly your responsibility as a man changes. No, it doesn't. If, as a matter of fact, it gets worse because now you have all this crazy energy, chaotic energy coming at you. If you go marry a second wife and you're not a man, you're gonna self-destruct yourself.
Oh gosh. I can only imagine. I can't think about that.
A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
guys are just very scared to say what it is that they really want. You know?
yeah. That's true. That's true too. Yeah, they're literally the real simps. I see people calling each other simps and stuff, but I see people that are simping to other men because they've gone through one thing or the other. I'm sorry, life has experiences we've all gone through. Anton talks about 2008 all the time. I was also in the middle of 2008. Like, my whole business got wiped out. So that's what happens in real life. It also happens in relationships. One day you wake up and she says she's not feeling some type of way, and it's the worst day for you in business. uh your knee-jerk reaction may tell you this is how you should react, but a man would say, let me calm down. Let me relax. It's okay. I'm the king. I'm not in a rush to respond to anything. Just bring her closer, like Anton said. Sit on my lap. What's up? Right? This is the energy you carry.
Yeah, this goes back to my number one on my list was to always expect and prepare for change. That you shouldn't be afraid of the changes that come because they will come no matter what. Nothing is consistent in this world.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
weird because, like, I even see guys out here saying that women don't want them to have good, like, the toys and the cars and all of this other type of stuff. And I don't experience that. My girl be like, Anton, I think you should get everything. She the one that forced me to buy my first Rolex. She forced me to buy my first Rolex. She like, yo, don't get the regular joint over there. Make sure you get the highest end one because you deserve
Right.
everything. I
Right.
don't have those same problems that a lot of other guys have because listen, when I come home, I look forward to getting home. I was out at the casino last night and hanging out, you know what I'm saying, blogging, having a good time, interacting with people, so on and so forth. I left early. I got there like 7 something PM. I was gone by 8:30 and I was trying to
Mm.
hurry up and get home. And I was like, yo, I can't wait to get home. I just want to chill up under you, have a good time. I watched some basketball and I was just having a fine, awesome time, man, because it's so peaceful to get home. It's just dope.
Mm-hmm.
It's lovely. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just be chill.
This is the point, Anton, where you start to to a lot of people you start to sound like it's all cap, like it's impossible. They really feel like this is impossible.
It's a dream.
Yeah, like you just got
It's
lucky.
not that hard, bro.
They just say you get lucky.
Not
You
that
know,
hard.
I'm like, I got lucky. Okay, all right, I admit I got lucky. I'm blessed. I get it. I'm favored, right? But
Not that hard.
I have enough friends to say like, nah, this is not exactly luck. That's a way you actually move to attract this kind of lifestyle. And it has nothing to do with money in a lot of ways, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you have money, it makes a lot of things easier. But it has nothing to do with that because I get it. A lot of people want to get to the bag and then suddenly they change. I feel like sometimes the bag will multiply the wrong. If you're trash, the bag will multiply that. That's not
Well,
good.
Anton says that when you get older, it only intensifies whatever you are. That age
Yes.
only
Whatever you
intensifies
are,
whatever
it
you
just
are.
becomes more of it.
Mm-hmm. That's what
Yeah.
Anton says.
Yeah.
Whatever you
And
do,
then
it's
and then
more of it.
speaking to what you guys were talking about earlier about the confidence, arrogance, and I mean, Anton has always said he always make a statement that he's always open to the possibility of being wrong.
Mm.
I feel like the danger in all of this is when you're not humble, right? And to me, humility starts with just keeping an open mind that you could be wrong at any point in time. You know, our words anyway, they only mean so much. I mean, they're good for the theatrics and stuff, right?
Mm.
But you watch the action of a man, right? And if they're a good listener, that's really all the humility that anyone needs, honestly. People that are not humble, they don't listen. You can't tell them anything, right? They
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just
see,
yabbing.
there you go, Ameera. If I wasn't humble, then nobody would be able to tell me anything.
Oh my God, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm blowing up his head right now. I get it, but it's true. Honestly, it comes down to being open, right, to other ideas, other perspectives, right? That's what it comes down to. Because if you don't have that, then you have a massive blind spot. We all have blind spots already, right? It just
Mm.
get bigger when you feel like no one can tell you anything. But I get Anton from the first day I ran into him some few months ago online. I get him like it's beyond just what he says, but you have to learn how to read between the lines, in between some of the words, and you can pick up the real deal, you know. And I feel like a lot of broke people right now out here are more arrogant than ever. They don't want to listen
Mm.
to anything because sometimes I have the empathy for them as well because they've gone through some experiences that put them in that state. But at some
Mm-hmm.
point, we got to wake up,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that's what technology is doing to us. I want to thank you so much, Ola, for coming in and giving us your opinion. I appreciate it
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you, Anton. We'll talk soon.
All right, fam. Hey,
Yeah.
Ameera, I feel like I need to get off your show because I don't want to continue to hijack it.
There was something I wanted to ask you before you go.
What's that? What you want me to ask?
Now I forgot it because we had to say goodbye to him, and now I forgot it.
Take your time.
1 minute, 1 second. Yeah, I'm not gonna remember it. It's gone for good for sure. I just wanted to say something, but Yeah, I don't remember what it was, so we'll just let it go. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for
welcome,
bringing so much here.
Let me know if you need anything. And I agree with you, largely about just the whole idea behind success. Um, I think it's easy to get rich. It's much more difficult with all of the other stuff that come along with it. The hate, the jealousy,
The IRS.
oh man, don't get me started about the
I
IRS.
have nightmares about the
Jesus
IRS.
Christ. And it is. And then like even now, like I got security now. You know what I'm saying? Just because
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I
We had
literally
to invest in so many ways.
yeah, I got security. I got a bunch of crap now. And
Yeah.
I
It's
had
really
to move
difficult.
into a certain space. I had to move my daughter to a certain school.
Yeah.
All of that. You know what I'm saying? So
I wish you would speak about that a little bit more someday, on maybe on your show, because a lot of people, they like to hear about the good parts about being rich or getting wealthy fast, But when it happens, it's like a lot of people don't understand the headache that comes with
I
it.
don't think people are built for it. Everybody think that they know money. I don't think that people are built for it at all. People think that success. Listen, you know what success breeds?
Mm,
Isolation. That's what it breeds. It breeds
honestly,
paranoia. It breeds people feeling entitled. You have to separate yourself from a certain type of people. And I don't think that most people are ready for the type of success that they really want. Right? People want to be famous. They want to be successful,
yeah,
and I don't think for most people that they know what really comes with it. Sometimes you don't sleep well. You know what I'm saying? Because you got so many things. You got families depending on you.
yeah,
I mean, it's a lot that come along with that, and you never turn it off. I never listen. It's very rare that I ever get a good night's sleep because I'm always thinking about what I got to do the next day. I'm always thinking about what decision that I need to make. A lot of the decisions that you're making is $100,000 decisions. You know what I'm saying? And everything is just weird. And so when you finally get a night off, or you finally go out and enjoy yourself, or it's the season for you um, for you to move a specific type of way, you just embrace it. When you finally get to drive your car, I don't even think. Listen, some of my cars at the end of the year, they don't even have 4 or 5 thousand miles on them. I spend more time on planes most of the time than I do actually in a car or driving or something like that, or enjoying things. I hadn't watched TV before basketball season started. I
mm.
hadn't watched TV in months.
I told you, I'm the only one who drives the cars. I'm the only one who puts miles on them. My husband, he doesn't enjoy them. It's just like you. You don't get a chance. And it's
Yeah,
always something next. And it's always, we make decisions. Well, not just we. My husband, you, the men who are in control of these things, make
crazy.
decisions that change people's lives. Your decision, if you have employees, most of us have employees that we have to
Yep,
care about. If I make the wrong decision, my employees are going to lose a lot. They might lose their homes, their families will suffer, and
yep.
this is all on your and my husband's and my father's shoulders, because you have to consider not just you, it's so many families depending.
I agree.
It's very stressful, and I don't think a lot of people understand. Like, my husband, he's going gray already, and he's your age, he's 39, and I'm like, honey, you going gray, and it's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot. But anyway, all right. Shout out to Polar Bear. Shout out to you, Ameera. I'm gonna let you guys rock. Um, and back to work. I got some stuff that I got to take care of before I get to bed. It's what 12 a.m. here, which means it's probably 9 p.m. there. So y'all
Get some
enjoy.
good sleep, Anton.
I can't. I don't sleep that much, bro.
Well, you need to.
All right, I'm gonna see
If
y'all
you don't
later.
have your health, you won't have your wealth. Just remember that.
Really quickly, I want to give you a call maybe in a couple of days, Anton, because I need to ask you about um,
We'll talk
a
about it.
certain
We'll talk.
banker.
Yeah,
So,
we'll talk about it. Okay.
yeah. Thank you.
See y'all.
Bye. Hi, Polar Bear.
How are you?
Good. Good.
So, forgive me. I was actually trying to get to sleep, could not. Start getting on my phone. So here I am. Anyways,
Welcome.
what was the primary topic on this? Was it having to do with success and the cost of success, or what?
I have completely forgotten because we are so actually I have it written down because I wrote a list. So it's about success. It's about success and the stress that comes with being successful. And that
Okay.
can be in anything, in your relationship, in your work life, whatever have you. And I made a list of things that people can do to handle the success once they get where they, like, if you reach your goal, what you can do to maintain your happiness after you reach it. And on the first thing on my list is to expect and prepare for change. Always be ready. Do not get comfortable. The second thing is to focus on your freedoms, not your limitations, meaning to look beyond what's in front of you.
Okay.
Number
Okay.
three, right? Number three is to rewrite your programming, unlearn what you learned as a child and everything, because you have to relearn everything again. So rewrite it. And last but not,
Sorry. Can I interject on that one?
sure.
Okay, so when you talk about relearning or rewiring yourself from what you learned from childhood, are you talking specifically of what you call those negative aspects that a given person may have accrued, or are you talking about everything?
Everything.
Okay.
Because one thing that we get too comfortable with is the idea that I know something. So I've known it since I was a kid, right? This could be right and it also could be wrong. So I say relearn everything just to make sure that it's right again. Just try to relearn it and don't get too comfortable knowing everything, saying that you know something. Always stay curious. That's what I mean.
Okay, I guess I misperceived, from the beginning, but I understand what you're saying now.
And number four is appreciate what you have while you have it. And also the people that you have around you, appreciate them while you have them. Because the same people that you stepped on your way up are the same people you're going to have to face to face on your way down.
That is true. That is true.
And this one,
go ahead.
okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You can answer first, and I'll tell you the last one.
I try not to interrupt. I thought that was a good time. In addition to, you don't want to step on people, obviously, but it goes beyond that. Is even the people that are precious to you. I think you and Anton, maybe some others have talked about it briefly before I came on, is spending so much time working that you may not have enough time to devote to those that are most important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Even that, taking your bullet point is don't get so consumed on, just working. You got to recognize the people that are in your life, whether it be from a business perspective or a personal perspective.
I'm going to write that down. I'll write that one down because that makes sense. Recognizing, you said an important word, which is recognize, because I think we see each other, but we don't recognize like who you are. Does that make sense? Like I see you, but I'm not actually seeing you. So yeah. I'm going to write that down too. And last on my list, I wrote this one just recently, right after we had our last call with Mr. What the Funk. I wrote this one down because it came to me as he was speaking. And the last one is do not talk down to yourself. Do not doubt yourself.
That is true. Don't. Now, I will say there's a difference between overinflating yourself or realizing certain limitations versus just downtrodden yourself. To give you an example, using myself, I could never ever see myself in the medical field. I don't have the sight of blood. Makes me kind of queasy. I don't like to see needles. I don't mind getting shot by a needle, but I look the other way when I'm getting shot on this side. Yeah. So that's what I call a recognizable limitation, but not putting myself down. Just a very simplistic thing. But yeah, if that makes sense, that you recognize certain things you're good at, and certain things you just know is not in your wheelhouse.
Well, being realistic with yourself is one thing. I think that's what you're talking about, is staying realistic. What I was basically talking about was if you're using a needle example, basically doubting yourself that you'll ever be able to get that needle jab without freaking out or passing out, because you doubt yourself so badly that you can't even say, I'm going to just look this way and have it happen. You just can't handle it at all. You're just doubting yourself from the beginning. So you never even put yourself in the chair to get the jab. So that's what I mean by doubting yourself. And yeah, but being realistic with yourself, we should be realistic with ourselves, you know.
Okay, makes sense.
So what do you think about the stresses of success, being successful?
So you can classify success in two categories. That which is what I call positive or good stress. And that's the type that will drive you to take some sort of action to do whatever you want to make better or achieve. Okay, that's good stress. You can also have negative stress, which, getting to your point, that you talk down to yourself, you start creating self-doubt, excuses, self-victimized, whatever the case may be, or where you're just so stressed over a situation that you can't make decisions because you have so much stress it causes indecision, or to where it gets to the point where it's affecting your health, be it your mental health, your heart, whatever the case may be, get insufficient sleep. That will degrade you quickly, you know.
Correct. Correct. So when a person is going through those things, what are your recommendations to them? It's easy just to say, well, just relax.
Right. Usually I will say this, and this is how I used to do my tests in college or things I was doing in government, whatever, is first of all, get a good night's sleep. 2, have a good meal. Okay. Your body, at the very primary level, has to be well rested and well fueled before you can do anything.
Okay. So take care of the most important things.
Right. Those are just the what you call the basic survival parts to
Okay.
take care of a person. There, after that, it actually helps to write things down. Now, it doesn't have to be a big thesis, maybe just a few bullet points. Okay. What am I trying to tackle? What are the issues? What are some possible ways I can deal with it? Okay. Then you start creating little sub bullets. Okay. Well, I need to tackle this. Okay. And let's say you had 3 sub bullets. I know I can do this part, but this other area, I don't know. Or this other one, I have absolutely no capability of changing that. Right?
Don't let Anton hear that.
Well, it's the truth, you know. So the things that are the things that you may not be able to do. First of all, is it something that you can learn to do? Is it within your capability? Is it something that you can develop over time? And do you have time to actually? Can you afford the time that would take to accomplish that? Okay. The other step would be, well, can I outsource it? Well, gee, I could probably learn how to do videography and everything like that. I simply don't have the patience for it, and it's not really my desire. I could outsource it to someone that already knows how to do it. Okay, and they're going to be more proficient, and I can get it done sooner than me trying to learn it over so many months, right?
True. Use your resources, yeah.
So learning how to delegate certain things that other people can handle more proficiently and quicker than I might be able to do myself.
Understood.
And then the other category is certain things you realize, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. You know, you look at using what they call the 80-20 rule. There's usually 20% of things that accomplish 80% of what needs to get done. Now, that's kind of a generic thing. It could be a different percentages. But usually there's a minor part, what you call major drivers, that affect the bulk of what your results will be. Then as you get through the other things, you got small things that you may have thinking that you need to get done, but when all said and done, has minimal impact on what you're trying to accomplish. So that's a thing to look at, be able to create that hierarchy of what's most important and will get the greatest results, okay, versus those that don't reap that much results. And also on all those things, how much effort you had to put into those actions to get those results.
Yeah, they have a saying about that, about like focusing on the minimal things rather than seeing the big picture. I think it's something like seeing the forest for the trees, or not seeing the forest for the trees, or something like that. So
yes.
Yeah, understandable. I appreciate that. That really is a good way to manage your life. Honestly, not just your day, your life, because we can get things so jumbled up, and sometimes we want to do the things that are more appealing to us first, or maybe we want to do the thing that is not even really necessary for us to do, but we want to do that one first because maybe it's easier. But yeah, setting things down and saying, I know this may be hard, but I need to do this first, it makes sense, and that is a better way. I hope everyone can hear that out. That might help someone who's going through this.
And yeah, sorry. Are you done? I didn't want to interrupt you. Are you done?
Mhm.
Okay, so leading on to that, one effect that has that can keep you from accomplishing is procrastination.
Mm.
When you feel like something is insurmountable or too much effort, you find ways to distract yourself.
Oh yeah.
And those major things
Mhm.
that, if you actually looked at it, took in what I call bite-sized pieces or whatever you want to call it, you could tackle it. It might take a little while, but at least you're getting there, and you can count, oh, I got through step A through E. Now I'm going F through L or whatever. You know, you got to leave somewhere. You know, but procrastination is usually an effect of what you were talking about when you start downplaying yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, procrastination is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. I don't know if you have other people in the queue. I don't want to monopolize the time. You know, I want to be respectful.
No, I appreciate it. If you have anything else you want to say, you can say it before we go.
Actually, this is just a couple ideas that maybe you share with the rest on the Lapeef Network. It's not necessarily on the topic tonight. Just one, if you guys actually had a discussion on the what you call commonalities and divergences between the Muslim faith and the Christian faith, I think it'd be very interesting. You know,
we don't want to start a holy war in the chat.
Well, I don't mean it like that. It's not to attack one another. I honestly believe more people will talk about something, okay, about the nuances, and it's not attack on each other. Just like, well, in this way we believe blah blah blah. In this other one we believe blah 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 blah. Whatever the case may be, people get better understanding that way versus them already having their what you call preconceptions of things, because that's where most conflict occurs between individuals, groups, whatever, is not willing to be open about differences.
I understand.
Subscribe to those differences. Just like, oh, well, that's different, or hey, that's cool. I never thought of that. What the case may be.
It always starts off with good intentions, and then it tends to go off the rails. That's the problem because it'll start off with everyone speaking nicely, and oh yeah, we have that the same, but then because of human nature, we want to point out our differences in the end, because if things are too similar, we're going to say, well, this is different for us. And then it'll turn into something like, well, this one is better. Well, this way is better. And then the pitchforks start coming out in the chat. And then we just, we're trying to keep it peaceful.
I understand. Yeah. If people are able to what you call desensitize themselves enough to think more logically versus emotional. And the other topic was, I don't know if maybe a lead attorney or someone else would be good on bringing someone on board to talk about estate planning for a lot of people.
Planning.
Yeah, a lot of people, they talk about having that will, so it goes on to their family, what they call the legacy. That's just one small sliver to be concerned about passing on your family legacy. And really, the will is not the best. It's just one tool in the toolbox. There's trust. There's living power of attorney.
Oh yeah.
Your medical power of attorney. Things like that.
Trustees.
Yeah. And the worst part is actually not if you die and someone gets all your stuff. It's what if you're incapacitated? The law won't let other people do things on your behalf unless you have a legal instrument that gives them that permission.
No, Sean, you're still animals. I'm sorry. Sean in the chat was saying, he said, laugh out loud. Well, Ameera, that makes us human beings, not animals, right? And I said, no, you're still all animals with your pitchforks fighting over holy war. I wanted to ask you, Polar Bear, I've seen you before on a few other of the channels, and I wanted to ask you, how did you end up being interested in this network?
So I have watched a few of the Manosphere channels, both by white guys, black guys, some others. Now, I think they have what I call nuggets or elements of validity, but I don't take everything that's on the plate that they offer. You know, I go partly from my own personal experience that I've been through. I've been divorced twice, and so kind of gives me a preconception on certain things.
Right.
You know, some cynicism, some trust issues. I could
I'm
call it
sure.
that. You know, now I'm not saying what I went through is what everyone's going to run through, but you know, I think there are some nuggets of wisdom in there. So you know, sometimes you get those YouTube recommendations. You watch a channel, what about this one? And so I watched a couple, and it's good. And because I've been, I think I mentioned on the last program of Lapeef this past week, I say I kind of am in the periphery. And what I mean by that is I was in 2 mixed marriages. Okay. So I'm used to being in a mixed family environment.
Okay.
And so, you know, I'm just that way. You know, some of the things that are, and I don't mean this in a bad way for anyone that's watching, but some of the things that are said, oh, this is how it is in Black culture, and the other ones don't have these problems. By and large, that's not the case. Most of the things when they're talking about man to woman issues or some other things, they're pretty much universal. You know,
Yeah.
so it's not like one as, you know, on a gravy train and the other one is not.
That's why I try to point out as much as I can that it's a Western issue mostly, because yes, in the East they had it, but not as much. But in the West, it's prevalent with all nationalities, all races, all everything. Because in the West, it's kind of too liberal, too free, and this is kind of what it breeds. But if you go to the Middle East, we don't have these kind of problems. A lot of these problems we don't have. So that's why I say Eastern life is completely different, and we don't have those problems. If I want to talk about places like Uzbekistan, Eastern Russia, Middle East, parts of China, Asia, we don't have these kind of issues. But in the Western world, it's very prevalent because of, you know, and that's with every race under the sun.
That's true. I think a lot of it, and I'm speculating, but someone can counter me, but I think a lot of it just has to do with the legal structure that we have here, particularly the family law structure.
I argue about that all the time.
It might be on paper, it might be, or on the books, it might be what you call egalitarian, you know, but the application of the law is quite different. Usually the man is at very high risk, and many of the women under the family law of the United States actually benefit through the dissolution of a marriage. So she has no incentive or less incentive to stay in a marriage versus being out of it. Again, that's my personal perspective. However, I've talked with, you know, not just the stuff that you see on YouTube, but guys I've known from work or outside of work, what I call in the real world, same thing.
Yeah, because it's not often that we see. I mean, there are a lot of people here that come on this channel that aren't Black, but a lot of them do not they do not open their cameras. They don't want to talk because I guess maybe they feel shy or awkward, you know, because, you know, so seeing you here is just nice. And that's why I wanted to ask you. And I was hoping you weren't too nervous to talk about why you, or how you found the channel rather. So thank you. Thank you for being on.
Seeking the blah, 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 but, you know, just, you know, as you start watching one program channel, you start seeing others. One thing I actually like to do, talk about the East and West and everything else like that. In less than 3 years, I retire from my present position. I work for the federal government. Less than 3 years, I can, you know, I've enjoyed it. It's been a very good career, but I'm ready for, you know, for the next stage of my world, my life. So, and I plan to go overseas and live predominantly because I have lived over in Korea and I visited Japan. I visited the Philippines. Ancient days ago, I was in Saudi Arabia just for a short while. I've been down to the Caribbean, and I'm in my mid 50s now. I'm probably going to, my clock will stop ticking by around 80. So around 70, it might start slowing down. So it gives me about a decade to go explore this good world and the people in it.
Yeah, I would say you probably have 2 more decades to enjoy. enjoy
Yeah.
your time, which is quite a bit of time still. I don't consider that small time. So yeah.
So, and because of that, one thing I do, I actually watch a lot of channels that are YouTubers from different countries or expats, usually from either Europe or Canada or Australia or United States, or what it's like to be an expat in given countries, you know. So I watch a lot of those, and of course you start watching one, then you get fed to another.
Well, oh my God. Okay. I was just thinking when you were saying that, I was like, what about people who are exiled? What about that?
I'm not talking about exiled people. No, I'm talking more about expats, you know, people from country X. That
No, I know. I was just curious. I
Oh,
was just curious to see if you were interested in exiled stories as well, because
I'd be open to listening to it. I just hadn't, I guess, thought about it or had it, you know, proposed. So if you got recommendations, you know, sure.
okay,
So
I'll let you know.
okay, no problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me on, and you know, catch you next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Polar Bear. Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay. Let me turn this. Okay. Thank you guys so much for the stream. I had a great time, and this turned out to be completely different than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were just going to stay on topic, but it's okay. I do prefer we just keep it natural, and it is a live show, so everything that happens is not staged or prepared already. So it turns into what it turns into, and I really enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much for being with me today, and I hope you have a great week. We usually do this on Sundays because I want to send you to the week with something to think about and keep this on your mind during the week. So thank you guys for joining me on this stream about the stresses of success. And with that, I yield my time. Bye, guys.